Welcome to Steel City Showdown. I'm AJ, and this guy over here posing is Steve. He might, alter as a model on the weekends.
But I'm a looks maxer. That's what the youths are saying. I'm mogging on this. There we go.
Oh man, for the people that are actually watching us on YouTube, I feel sorry for us
as well. Soak it in.
All right, Steve. So we had a game of games.
Yeah, that was one of them. It's good that at least coming into this match, everything was calm. The team knew everything that was going to be had. The fans were ready. It was a nice, relaxing. Oh, we get to go and play San Jose. We've never lost there. It's great. Everything was good going to this match, right? Everything was settled. Everything was Gucci, as the kids say.
Well, let's be honest, though. Leading into this game, and we have some predictions later, did you feel confident that we were going to even draw this game?
Absolutely not. No, San Jose's in third place. They 30 some odd goals. I think it's 37 goals scored. They don't give up a lot of goals. We just lost our way and beyond best scorer. Like Hartel had 6. The next closest person on our team at that point has 2 goals. And the team seemed like it was going to be a mess. And it's all intents and purposes, this should have been a wash. This game should have just been a wash. We should have walked out of there 3-0 loss, and everyone would have been okay with that because, of course. But that's not what happened. I guess that's the good thing about sports is you go and you perform. So to answer your question, I thought I had zero confidence that we were going to win this match, and it should be expected. I think if someone were to tell you they were confident this team was going to win 3-1, they're lying. Let's just be honest. There's no way either that or you've got Biff Tannen's magic book from the 1950s. Like, there's no way someone really came in this match thinking, you know what, heart of heart, we're going to win this match 3-1. And Ashton Judd's not even going to sniff the ball. Like, forget that.
Yeah, and I obviously leading up to this game, there was a lot of concern. This one player, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's one of our best players on the team, Hartel. I had left. I know it's kind of a shocker to you.
It should have been a shock.
But, yeah, the thing is like we went into this game, I think most fans were afraid. We saw the last game where he was sitting on the bench. Our team just didn't look like they had that edge until he came in. And then it was like the team that we've been seeing. Give you an idea here. Obviously, everybody's talking about this is the 10th all-competition non-losing streak that we've had. Personally, I don't like the count Open Cup just because some teams take it seriously, some don't. But however you want to take it, I mean, if we look at just league record, we have 9 games without a loss, which is pretty freaking phenomenal. Now, San Jose, I looked back at their last 10 games. They had 1 win, so I'm counting this game too that we just had. They had 1 game 5 games ago, they won, and that's the only win that they've had in the last 10 games. So San Jose was definitely on a downtrend here. So I think even despite them being in third place, I think we caught them at the right time of the year, to be honest.
Right, and I think you and I discussed, kind of off camera that we think that right now, up until this game yesterday, that we felt that this is the type of win this team is going to have, where we catch lightning in a bottle and we are lucky enough to have a team that's on a downswing. And that's how we're going to get our wins. I wonder going in now, I wonder if our assessment is the same. I wonder if that's still like, do we still feel like the only way we're going to catch wins now is if we catch a team that's bad? Or is DeMay able to manage this team in a way that we can work around our deficiencies? I mean, I think at some point, that's going to bear to be looked into. Like, is this guy really that good of a coach? Where, I mean, whatever we want to say about it, we're in 4th place right now, or 4th or 5th. Either we're in the top 5,
fifth,
and that is something that there's no way we expected, and you can't take that away from him at this point. So, I think at some point we'll have a segment where we talk about like DeMay's ability versus just falling into bad teams.
So you want to hear something crazy? Check this out. Houston right now is currently in first place at 35 points. We are in 5th place at 29 points, meaning that we are 6 points from first place. Is that something that any of us, and the answer is, of course, no, any of us expected would be happening at this time of the year? Now, on the flip side, check this out. If you look down all the way to 12th place, that's San Diego, they're 5 points below us. So the difference between first place, 35 points, and 12th place, 24 points, is only 11-point difference, meaning that just a little streak can zoom you all the way up to the top of the table, or a losing streak can zoom you all the way down to the bottom again. That's how tight this race is right now.
And
holy moly.
And we don't have to dive into the East because we don't play in the East. But like that same stat from 5 to 12 is 9 points. And so instead of being 5 points with 2 wins, now we're looking at having to be 3. So like,
interesting.
And it's even wider at the top. So the East is much more top heavy, while the West, I think we have a lot of parity, and it benefits a team like St. Louis that can get hot and can propel itself into a position. Now, I mean, like you're saying, like we're only technically like one loss away from being out of playoff contention at this point, but we're there, and that's magical. And but we can keep ourselves there with some draws and some, timely wins. So, wow. When we started doing this in February, I don't think we could have predicted any of this. I guess we'll find out in December when we go back and look over again to see how wrong we were again. But maybe it'll be a good one.
You mean December after we win the cup?
December. I think the cup's on December 10th, my birthday. So I think we can celebrate my birthday with a city win.
Okay.
I watched Nashville.
I'm okay with that. As long as I can give you that instead of an actual monetary present.
That'll be all I need. Getting out one of those Ninty Towels. I mean, we saw Nashville dismantle Miami last night. So, like, I'm not looking forward to, like, that level of the playoffs just yet. But, let's have some fun right now. Let's talk about August 15th.
Well, speaking of which, before this game, we did some pre-predictions. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go through these pre-predictions. We're going to look at these and see how well we did. So we didn't do anything on video record, but we did write down what we had thought. But this also gives us a jumping off point to what we were thinking and then what actually ended up happening. So I'm going to hear. Okay, so you ready for the first one that we did? So the first one, I think we probably had the same person. So our pre-prediction, player to get booked, especially first.
So, okay. I think everyone knows mine, but what's yours? Who did you think? And then, so if we're right, we'll give like 5 cool points. And if we're wrong, it's 0 cool points. And if it's a really rad, kind of out of the way prediction, we'll do 2 cool points. So who was your prediction for who might get booked first?
If you raise up your left hand and point to that picture in the top right of your screen there, yeah, that guy right there.
Which of course is Chris, I love my yellow cards, Durkin.
Absolutely. Who else would you pick? Seriously, like there's a 50% chance that he's going to be the first one booked every game.
I would say it's greater than 50%. Like at one point he committed a foul and then he shuffled his legs like a cartoon character because he was shocked that he was going to get even a foul. And I thought for sure, here comes the yellow. But no, my man didn't even get a yellow last night. I wonder if he considers that a success or not. Like, all right, so we both thought it was Durkin, and I think we both picked that we would probably get the player book. So I think that's a 0 for both of us.
That's absolutely a 0.
One of my predictions was would City score before 30 minutes? And I thought that they would. I thought we would score early and then just kind of get cooked the rest of the match. So did you think the City might score before 30 minutes?
Oh, no way.
Yep. All right.
No. Yeah, there was no way I was thinking that they were going to score before 30 minutes.
All right. What about...
And of course, they did twice, by the way.
So what's the next one we have?
So the next one is number of goals. So the number of goals, how many goals did you think we were going to end up with in this game? And why?
Okay. On our Discord, so you and I had a discussion, but on our Discord, we have an official kind of prediction table, which is really fun. I predicted 0 goals because I didn't see how we would generate any power. So I thought it'd be 0 goals. And sure enough, we finished with 3. So what about you? How many goals did you think the team might have?
So here's the cool thing about the Mays team is that even when we're not scoring, we're creating chances, right? Which is why the striker position is so important for us, because he has found a way to make chances happen. And the thing is even if you got a crappy striker, right? Eventually you're going to score, even by accident. You know what I mean? Like, even if the ball hits somebody in their back and then flies into net, like somehow a score is going to happen. So I thought that we were going to get 1 goal.
Okay. So I think that's 0 for both of us, right? I mean, because I think an outlandish prediction would have been like 7 goals or something, and we got 3. So the fact that I went with 0, not that outlandish. So first substitution. So we need to look back and see who actually was the first substitution. I thought the first substitution might be.
So
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I thought the first substitution would make sense and wound up being Matan, which, okay. What about you? Who'd you think?
This is pretty much what DeMay has been doing. I figured the first person to get subbed off was going to be either Leuven or Sangbin, and then that would bring Matan on. I figured Hulsa would be next, and then I figured that they would bring Alt on because at that point, usually, he's been subbing off Betcher later after those. So that's the order that I thought. I know I kind of combined two because we had first substitution and player who would get subbed off. Mm-hmm. So I kind of figured Sangbin, Leuven, then Betcher, and then I figured Matan, Hulsa, and then Alt.
So
Alt, however you say his name.
The first, Alt. Yeah, the first substitution was at 69 minutes. Yeah, it was. And we had Sangbin come off for Matan, and we had Leuven come off for Hulsa. So he actually brought Hulsa on a lot earlier than people would have. I think we were predicting it. I thought maybe a 10-minute, 85th minute sub. But no, he brought him on with 20 minutes to go. So I think we both get a 5 on that one.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Let's see. Oh yeah, who takes the biggest shot at goal? Who did you predict, and who do you think had the biggest shot after?
Man. See, I thought who might take the biggest shot was going to be Leuven just because of his power, and he has those really magical shots. So I think you could say I went kind of basic with mine, but that was it. I thought it would be Leuven. And then really Edelman's shot was electric. Edelman's shot, the way, that whole, the whole way the shot come up. You got Sangbin running the ball down. I think Sangbin passed to Leuven. Leuven had that amazing footwork. Did he pass it to Edelman, or did someone else touch the ball before Edelman got to it? Because I thought there may have been 4 people. Valum touched the ball, and then Edelman got to it. So like that whole sequence was amazing to watch, and I just thought it was great. Like start to finish, it was an amazing sequence. So I thought that it'd be Leuven. I didn't get that one. So who'd you think? Who'd you think would take the biggest shot?
Initially, I was thinking Sangbin would have the opportunity. And then I was thinking, okay, well, Leuven too, because he's kind of taking the role of Hartel, and Hartel was doing a lot of the outside the box shots, to kind of keep the defense honest. So I figured there was a chance that Leuven would have it. So either way, it doesn't matter because neither of those two did. Obviously, it was Edelman. I got to say one thing about Edelman. If you rewatch that, you could see that he was crashing that. Like he could see Valum was there. He knew that Valum had one play there, which was sending it towards the net. So he started running, and then he ended up doing that kind of slide shot.
That was so wild.
So that's something I will admit. It's interesting for such a defensive guy. He's probably one of our number 1 players for crashing the net like that. Like exactly what you've seen, which is crazy because like that's what a striker should do.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think, so that was good. And that really was just, and watching, like, I know that we heard that DeMay was going to have this slow build up, and everyone has to kind of know where they're going to be and have patience and watch it build. And it's been really great to watch that happen throughout this year. And we're seeing it more and more. And we're seeing players know where they're supposed to be. We're not seeing players give up on plays much anymore. Like the discipline seems to be building up. And I think that's a credit to DeMay. Legit. Like great. It's amazing. All right. So let's get some poppers going. Let's get some scores. So like AJ, you know how many cool points you ended up with here?
Let's see. I think this was like maybe 5.
You had 5 cool points, which is great. This is good. It's good. I ended up with 10. So let's go ahead. Woo! So only because I thought we would score once and just like shut it down from there. So you had commented also that what we're not seeing this team park the bus. We're not seeing this team get up 2-0 and just take our foot off the gas. We're not seeing it go into like a prevent defense and just play to not lose at that point. Like I thought that was a really cool comment because we're seeing that. We're seeing that with this team.
Yeah. At least this game, right? Because other games we have seen that where they started going to a low block, they were parking the bus, stuff like that. But the one thing that was kind of cool is DeMay and the team realized, hey, literally San Jose is not stringing things together. Like they had a lot of passes, right? They had a lot of accurate passes. They had more passes than us. They had higher accuracy passes than us. I think that they just knew that they just would have to keep severely disrupting them because if they went into low block, it would have given San Jose a chance to organize. And that's something that they did not have all game. Like we did amazing with that.
And it was so cool to watch them. Like they could not get comfortable. And that, for me, that was amazing. I just couldn't get comfortable. And it showed.
Yeah. All right, Steve. So our next game. So this is something that's been on everybody's mind. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody is talking about it. Everybody will talk about it. What is this, Steve?
All right. So, again, you may or may not be aware, but we had a guy on our team named Marcel Hartel that just left. He just packed up his bags one day, said he was going to go get some milk, and then hasn't been back and left a pretty big hole in our team. So what we're going to talk about is who's going to fill these spots. So we're going to throw some things back. So we're going to rank each one 0 to 10, like whatever, like your confidence in this. So this is all we're just going to kind of burn out. We're going to talk a little bit about Hartel and then we're going to move on. And I came up with these before the match last night. So it may be a little evident at this point, but let's see. This is, again, after one match. So who replaces Hartel's production? And I think his biggest production was, I think, the set point, the set pieces, and this like that attacking. So who replaces his production to you on currently constructed team?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because what I really want to know is I assume that Matan is going to be on the bench and Hulsa and Leuven is going to be playing attacking midfielders. So if that's the case, Hartel's production is going to probably be shifted between Hulsa and Matan. Now, the question is does Leuven come back and play more into the central midfield, replacing someone like, sorry to say this, Durkin, and then Matan and Hulsa is up top? If that's the case, then it's Hulsa that's solely replacing Hartel's production. That's my thought. I know. The thought of Durkin on the bench, don't die on me.
Is that nice? All right. Hi. So, for his production, I do think as well, it's going to fall on Hulsa. So, like, I don't know if he predicted like this, that would be kind of where he would fall in. Maybe the team kind of knew this all along, and that's why they picked him up. I don't know. But I do think his productions are going to fall. I think a lot of these are going to sound pretty basic. They're going to fall between Hulsa, Matan, and Leuven, to me. I think those three guys are going to be kind of the Voltron right now of filling up that space for Hartel. Now, if we get another player in, then that discussion will change. But for now, that's kind of what I thought. So the next one.
So let me ask you this.
I'm sorry.
Let me ask you this real quick.
So
this is a little detour.
I'm an open book.
So the question is for you, to piggyback off this, would you replace so Dirk and Edelman has been a great pairing.
Yeah.
Would you replace one of those two so Leuven can play in the central midfield? That way Matan can play with Hulsa. Or would you put Matan on the bench and have Hulsa and Leuven up top? So the question is who would you bench? Would you bench Matan or would you bench like a Dirk and Edelman? Like one of those?
For me, right now, Matan's been coming on as like that late sub. And until I think he has to earn a starting spot. I think Matan is one of our, weakest signings we've had. Like he's okay, he's good, but like, is he going to replace Durkin right now? Because Leuven would have to move into another spot. No, I think Matan comes on as like one of our super subs, if you will. I think before Hartel was gone, there was some discussion. We had to have this discussion about would you sit Leuven and who's gonna be in there? And I think gladly that's gone. Gladly we don't have to have that problem anymore. But I mean, I think you're right. Durkin and Edelman have been an amazing pairing. It's been working really well. So why shift it out? And you got this young man. I think the next question is going to fit right into him, but
Yeah, do
he's
it.
so quick. So let's go on to our next one then. So we'll just slide into our next one. Little slippy slide here. So our next one is who replaces his creativity. And I think that's just completely custom. That question is completely custom made for Matan, because that's one of his perks we had coming in was he's creative, he's fast. And we saw that his very first time he was in for us. He's so quick, he's so creative that's going to be able to open up spots, and that's going to cause chaos for teams, because that's kind of what Hartel could do. He could come down, shove his little feety feet, and move around. And we're seeing Matan is a less experienced version of that for me. That's how I see it.
Yeah, as far as creativity, I mean, I still currently love Leuven's creativity, because there's times where, oh man, if you watch, he loves to try to long ball it to Singbin, right? He's trying to find ways. Matan, like, I know he is supposedly creative, but we haven't seen it. Plus, if he's on the bench, I don't think he can really replace Hartel's creativity because he's on the bench. You know what I mean? Hulsa, I think we need to see. By the way, Hulsa, he took those set pieces, those corners. Holy moly, they were super, super accurate. Yeah. They were exactly where he intended it. I'm sorry, I like Leuven, I like Hartel, but neither of those guys came close to what we saw from Hulsa on the set pieces. Now, maybe they were just a lucky 3 set pieces that he had, but holy crap. They were super accurate. They had some amazing pace. And if we have that kind of set pieces for the rest of for as long as he's here, our quote unquote special teams or set pieces are going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So mark me on that. Mark me on that. It
would be good to not have so many short set pieces, especially for like the free kicks. It would be good and to not have to have those. Like, I would say that Leuven's set his corner last night to the header for a very unmarked Betcher, by the way. He was just was perfect as well. I think that's kind of like was Leuven's speciality, if you will, 23, 24. And he got hurt and was missing time. And that's kind of moved around. But I would think a lot of people would say Hartel wasn't the best at the corners. He really wasn't. It really wasn't, not a lot of spark coming out of there. So I think that's great there. What about this next one, which you and I had a good discussion about, his leadership? What about Hartel's leadership on the team? And then, do we think that Hartel was a leader on the team? And then what does his vacuum create?
So this is hard because apparently they won't let us into the media, days where we can ask questions and interview. I mean, geez, like we're big enough. We should be able to have front row seats.
Yeah. Right. Get out of here, whoever your name is, this Matthew Cooker guy. Get out of here. Get me in there. Matt Cook.
I mean, Kendall listens to our show every week. So, I mean, geez, come on, Kendall. Anyways.
Right. I got a sparkly jacket. Let's swap.
Yeah. I bet you do. Anyways, so as far as leadership, obviously we do not know what the training field is like. Like, we're not there every day. We're not in the workout rooms and stuff like that. But at least on the field, he just doesn't seem like he's the main leader. Right. Like, I think he has, like, he's a veteran, right? He brings some leadership, but I don't know if he's like a strong leader. What do you think?
Right. I forgive me if I'm wrong, but even the last 2 years, I've never seen videos of him, clips of him like barking at the players like Berkey, him stepping up and being that kind of person, him leading. Like, how many pressers did he do? I don't remember if there were more than a handful probably, but I don't think that was his vibe, and that's fine. But at least now we can have someone else kind of probably step up and want to do that. So when I made this question, I was like, but I think it's good to talk about, like, was he actually a leader on this team, or was he just a really good player that was comfortable not taking that limelight, that spotlight, if you will?
Here's another thing too, and this is partly leadership and then faith and coaching. So one of my fears was that when Hartel left, all the players would just give up. They would be like, our best player is leaving. Yep. how are we going to win again? The last game, they know it. They see the exact same things we do and then some, right? They saw that when he came on, it was a totally different game. So I thought that there was a really good chance that the team would just kind of miss him too much. No, that's not the case. DeMay's teams, right? He developed this and it's working. That this is much more of a team, like a global thing. And I think that there's more leadership than just like one single person on the team that's leading everything,
Right.
Whether you like him or not, right? But like Messi, right? Like if you're on a Messi team, he's obviously the player everybody's going to look up to. If he's not playing, in the back of your head, you're like, oh, great. Are we going to lose? Right.
Right.
Not with DeMay's teams. Not with DeMay's teams.
Right. At the presser before this match, he was asked about replacing Hartel. And he made a comment that his system is not player dependent. His system is for the system. And if they need to replace players, they can. He's not going to worry about one player or two players week to week. He's going to worry about how he's going to make sure his system works best. And, I think we might be seeing that, which is good. All right. Now, selfishly, who benefits the most from Hartel being gone? So Hartel's not there anymore. Who on that team benefits the most?
Yeah.
And I'll answer mine. Last night, it was Betcher. Betcher clearly benefited the most from him not being there, at least last night.
I see what you're saying. I think who benefits, like let's say Hartel did stay. Well, Matan is definitely on the bench because you're going to have Hartel, Hulsa, and Leuven. There's no way that Matan would be. Sangbin would benefit to basically anybody who's playing up there in the wing / attacking midfield is benefiting because you're not going to beat out Leuven, Hartel, and Hulsa.
No, what if it's like I think we could say the bench probably benefits most. I mean, you're going to see probably more Ostrak, definitely more Sangbin. Like Sangbin looked really good last night. Sangbin was phenomenal. I think we're going to be able to see a lot of these other players come through.
So, do you know who actually looked pretty good?
Oh, your man, yeah.
So, actually, the last few games, more and more, right? It seems like he's starting to learn the system. But Valum was absolutely horrible at the beginning of the year. And every game, he just seems like he's getting a little bit better and better and better. In this game, I would have to say that this might have been his best all year long.
Yeah, I wonder what it is. Yeah, and I wonder if, like, it looked like earlier in the season, last season, into this season, where he was focusing more on scoring and trying to be more offensive. And what if he's now like, I wonder what his heat map is. Yeah, his heat map is definitely, for at least last night, he spent most of his time on the defensive side, which is where he should have been. And I know he had an assist, but like, what if DeMay's got him more focusing on, you're a defender, you need to step back, you need to kind of focus on that side instead of being torched down the side and looking really bad and getting yellows and reds. Like,
well, it's ironic you said that because he had the assist for the goal in the first 10 minutes. But you're probably right too, because defensively he does not seem to be as much of a liability. The other thing is a lot of times these wing backs are responsible for the edge of the field, but they have been for like the past 10 or so games, 15, whatever games, they have been inverting him. So for those that don't know because everybody talks about inverting. So what does that mean? So instead of them being on the wings, they invert. And instead of being on the wide, they actually start to cut inside and play more mid when you get closer towards the net. And then the winger, so like Sangbin, will actually be the wide person. So a lot of times it's opposite or something like that. So I feel like that's suited him very well. Like he doesn't have what Sangbin or like Leo, those people on the edges have, like that fast, quick 1v1. And it's made a huge, huge difference, to be honest.
Yep. Okay. How about our last question?
Yeah, hit it.
How long do we keep talking about Hartel? How many more games are we going to keep talking about Hartel? And I'll let you start.
Okay. So this is actually hilarious. So the wifey and I, a day and a half a week on average, go up to like the Hannibal Quincy area to work. And we were driving there together and we were listening to Flyover Footy, which I absolutely love the podcast. But there was a segment where they were literally talking about Hartel and him leaving and everything. for like 25 minutes straight. And she was getting to a point where I think she was about to like punch the radio because it was just like so much harder. You know what I mean? Like, I get that he was our best player. I get that this is super impactful, but it just almost, it's almost too much. Like, even right now, like, I get it. We're talking about Hartel for a segment.
Yeah.
But we're kind of also talking about the other people replacing him. So like, we're kind of moving forward a little bit. So to answer your question, in sports, wins heal everything. So to answer your question, how many games until we stop talking about him? Well, there's always going to be little mentions here or there, but I think if we continue on this win streak, then I think we forget about him in a few games for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, if we lose, it's always going to be like, I can't believe the front office let Hartel go.
Yep.
If only we had Hartel, we'd still be winning.
Yep.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well,
tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Oh, you're right. But like, also, I think that we're always going to be chasing Hartel's value. I mentioned it before that City let him go for less than $1 million. Less than $1 million. The Hanover 96 had to pay to send him. And they either got caught off guard or they just really wanted it to go. But we definitely did not get our value out of the production that he had here. So what I'm thinking is, if we get a player in, a high value player, we pay a lot of money for, and he succeeds, we're going to be talking about that comparison for a while, only because of the fact that it's recent and how are we succeeding? If we, like you said, if we are in the stratosphere and we're blowing things out, then Hartel's not mentioned as much. But if we're struggling or if the guy gets hurt, it's like, oh, what if we had Hartel? Could have had a Hartel back.
Yep.
And also, I mentioned pre-production that St. Louis just cannot let go of players. The fans in St. Louis, we, for some reason, feel that every player that has touched our turf and grass is ours. And I think personally, at least in the fan-wise, he's going to be mentioned for years. He's going to be mentioned for years. And people are going to be wearing his jerseys for years still, because we just can't let go, because that's our guy. I mean, hell, people still follow some of the players that we've let go. We just, oh my God, every damn time he's seen in St. Louis, it's, okay, is he going to come back? I'm looking right now at our year 2 poster, and I saw someone post on the Discord that AZ was, what was that guy's name? Zeal Jackson was signed for another MLS team. And like, we just keep talking about these guys. And it's just going to happen. And I think it's going to be years before. I mean, Klaus was mentioned on the broadcast last night by the broadcast team as being a former City player. So like, I think Tim Parker is probably the only City player that's going to be able to get out of here that was major and not be mentioned ever again.
So Tim Parker, right? Because like, when we look at our defense, and you got Timo right now, who's absolutely killing it. The back line is absolutely killing it. So like, it's easy to forget about Tim Parker, but like for Klaus though, do you think we keep mentioning him, or Giochini even, which he had a great like little span to some extent, but he was flopping around, and fans, if you remember, were really frustrated at the time. Is it just because all we have is Betcher?
I think so. And I think it's because we haven't fully replaced him. But I mean, if you think about how impactful Parker was to this city, like, he was huge. I mean, I'm looking at that poster. He's the biggest picture on our poster from then. He had a Four Hands beer named after him, and people were talking about like rioting in the streets when we let him go. But because of the fact that we've been so successful in the past, it's now been 3 years and he's not blowing things up. I think he's in Washington now or something, but he's not blowing things up wherever he is. We're able to let that go. But I think just because also the nature of the position, it's the back line, it's not the goalkeeper, it's not the striker. Those are the guys that's the only 2 positions basically that people remember. And I do think we're looking at 28 before we stop mentioning Hartel. I think it's going to be, especially next season, just a sprint season. So there's not going to be a lot of time for people to kind of forget about him, especially we got through another transfer window. But I think we're looking at all the way through at least the sprint season before we start not talking about him. Only because also we're still not lined up with the rest of the world with their soccer season. So we're going to see his success happen while we're taking our break. And people are going to say, oh, wow, what if he's scoring 20 goals or something? Well, that could have been us. And we're going to keep hearing about it.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
that was fun. I mean, it's good to kind of do like a postmortem.
Yeah.
Here is what we have to do to kind of release a player. But I think it helped that we won 3-1. And like you've been saying, this whole
winning
season,
cures things. Winning cures and heals all wounds.
Winning this whole season, and you have said the entire season, Simon Betcher is your guy, and that you can't wait for him to be the true number 9. Man, and he's shined last night. Face. You go, that young man. Oh, did you know he went to SLU? Did you know that? Did you know he's from Kansas City, but he went to SLU?
Okay, so we have to talk about this. So actually, you know what? Goal or no goal time. I think
you're going to make this one up, bud.
Let me find my goal or no goals here, because I know I had one here. Okay, so Irish84 on Reddit said, Leuven and Totland scored Betcher's goals. If you're looking for a whale of a striker, look at the point-blank gift opportunity he shot right at the keeper. There was another one right at the keeper, though not as big of a moment. Strikers create opportunities out of nothing, not get stonewalled on gift chances wasted. So in other words, he's saying that if you remember, there was 2 times where because he had 4 shots on goal. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he had the 2 headers that went in, which honestly should have been scored. But there was 2 other times where he was like 1v1 with the goalkeeper. And I'm not naive. I'm not an idiot where I think every shot has to go in goal. Like there's no striker that's going to make it, right? But this person's arguing that he should have. Do you agree with Irish84? Goal or no goal?
No, I'm going to say no goal. I mean, he still had to put those in. He still had to put those in. Like that. How many times did we see Leuven do an excellent corner to the goal, only to have Klaus bounce it off his giant forehead over the crossbar? That can happen so many times. The young man did it. He scored those goals. Like I remember the 1v1 against the goalie. Like the goalkeeper can still stop the goal, guys. Like the goalkeeper doesn't have to step off to the side and say, "Here you go. It's please come in." Like no. He still had to score those goals. How many times? Like we kept count one game. We actually had a segment where we talked about how many times Betcher boofed a kick and should have scored, and it was up to like 5-1 match where he just did a horrible job. And if we're going to hold him accountable for all the times that he doesn't score, we damn well need to at least appreciate when he actually does. He only has 4 goals on the season. So let's not make this like he's going to have 14 goals, but he still has those goals. So like, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that you say that the Irish 1984 guy says that somehow he didn't earn those goals, which you got to give it up to him. Like for me, that's credit where credit due. That's all. What about you?
Yeah, I think what Irish84, he or she didn't explicitly say this, but I think what they're trying to say here is that they're not getting overexcited, right? Like, one of my things, I figured you would probably say this at some point and you haven't yet, but you would mock the front office and pretend to be like, hey guys, we're sitting around in our committee here. Betcher actually did pretty good. Maybe we actually don't need a striker after this game.
Call their agent. You can go kick rocks. We got our guy. Click. That kind of nonsense. Like, who the hell uses a rotary phone anymore? Here I am doing this. And it's like, boop, there's no dramatic, but he's definitely not going to be long-term. Like, I think you and I both agree. It's one game. Let's see 3 games down the road. And let's see how he's doing in this system. Like, there's been plenty of chances where he did mess up goals, but he still had to put those in. We still had to put those in. Like, that's all. I mean, the guy says Leuven and Valum actually scored those goals. Like, those are theirs. And he was just like, we talked about a prop. They just had to hold up a piece of cardboard and bop it in. Which, no, he still had to be in the right position. He still had to time his jump for the header. He still had to do those things.
So the thing is Betcher, he's not a stranger to having like a spurt of goals too. Do you remember when him Teuchert and Hartel started with us.
Yeah.
Like I thought Betcher was going to be the man.
He
I
scored
thought
a lot.
Teuchert was going to be, yeah.
Yeah.
I just pulled it up. He had 4 goals in that like half season that he joined with us. And I thought that was like,
and I
was like, holy crap.
And I think that's why everyone was excited when we signed him during the winter. We signed him for an extension was because, oh, wow, this guy can score. And then they go and put him in the main striker position of number 9. And that's not what he does. That's not him. And I think that's good. Like, kind of remember, like, people were excited to have him resign because of the fact that he did come in and he did score and he was impactful. And hopefully we can kind of get him back to that role. All right, I got a quick one. Nick Niehaus on one of the Facebook groups says, Hartel who? Score or no goal? I'm trying to forget this guy ever existed.
Okay, so this is the problem with fans. So somebody on Reddit said that fans are bipolar because we just flip-flop back and forth.
Right.
Now, I'm going to be technical for a second. Technically, it's not bipolar. It's splitting is the tech term for this. So splitting is when people either think something is all good or all bad. So like, for instance, you might be like, oh, I got the best boss ever. Then one thing happens and you're like, mentally, you're like, oh, they're the worst ever.
I always
like,
hated
there's
this
nothing
guy.
in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So our fans are definitely splitters where literally before this game, we're like, oh, we're toast without Hartel. Then we have one good game against a team that has one win in the last 10 games. And now we're like, who's Hartel? So no goal.
Right. This kind of leads me. So like, there's a lot of misnomers in sports. You know, there's that quote where it says, if you do insanity is the definition of doing the same thing over and over again. I think it's attributed to Mark Twain or something. He never said that. That's not a quote. And it's another one for sports is fan is short for fanatic. And that's why everyone's crazy, which I don't think that's true. I just think it's fun to be able to say. But I do think that we should see some overreactions. And that just me to, I want to do another one real quick. On the same page, essentially, on Facebook last night, Mickey Rodriguez says, hear me out. What if Hartel was the problem? Your reaction right there should have been everyone's reaction. But yeah, so this is what we get. We get these massive overreactions. And of course, that's a no goal.
Let me ask you this. So in the last 9 league games, right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins. 7 wins. 6 of them when Hartel was playing. So how was he the problem?
Right.
That dude's so no goal. No goal.
A freaking obvious no goal. What do you got?
I mean, after something like that. Okay.
It's ridiculous.
So, this is an easy one. Rip Aggressive. 1521 on Reddit said, this DeMay guy is kind of good.
Okay. I mean, I like the non-committal, like a Larry David kind of thing. Yes. I know. You know what? I'm going to have to say no goal because at this point, I would say he's better than kind of good. I think he's not, we definitely not going to go great, but he's really good. Like you take what we have, what was decimated, and then building this up and training this squad to be a certain way. I would say he's better than kind of good because he hasn't been fired yet. How about that? He hasn't been fired yet. In the long line of city coaches, he's made it more than half a season.
Yeah, to be honest, I think there's no doubt that DeMay is a good coach. I mean, this team has suffered with a lot of coaches, right? Like we've had more coaches than we've had years of existence if we count the interim coaches.
We're going to have to.
And out of all of them, I would say that this has been the weakest players, but yet great results. Now, the thing is I know that Bradley Carnell had some a great start to the season. We didn't finish as strong as the start, right?
Right.
But I feel like we had a better set of players that were perfectly crafted together, you know?
Yep.
So I would have to say that DeMay is probably the best coach that we've had. I'm not saying he's the best coach ever, but so far for at least City,
I don't see how you could argue against that, other than the fact that we I don't. We won the West our first year, and was that the coach or was it the fact of the team? But you have to be able to say the coach in place there won the West, but then he was out the very next year. So I would say that DeMay so far is looking like he's been our best coach yet. So So we had a couple overreactions for one direction. I'm going to give an overreaction, something that probably doesn't need to be said, from the other direction. The same kind of line, the same Facebook group. This person, it's the same guy. Oh my God, it's the same guy that talked about Hartel being a problem. All right, Icky. Oh, you wrong day, bud. It's a little longer one. It says St. Louis City. So this is right after we've won. Okay. And he gets toasted. St. Louis City has never had a true killer number 9, and they probably never will. They're too afraid to spend the money to bring in a top striker. Meanwhile, the fans seem perfectly happy with a bag of chips and a video full of fake tears. This is after we've won 9 games in a row.
So people need to stop because I keep saying this, like, I'm frustrated too. Like, you want to have a striker come in, but we've literally just had some rumors, okay, that City is pursuing multiple strikers, and they have a backup plan if their primary doesn't come in. They you know what I mean? Like, they have. And the other thing is, the one thing that we've noticed about Ray is that there hasn't been a lot of leaks.
No.
Like, the Hulsa signing was like, Hulsa sign, you're like, what? It kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah. Same thing for the Matan guy. Like, it was only like, I think it was like a couple days before that you kind of knew, but there wasn't any, weeks notice like you'd get with some, like blah, blah, blah is negotiating or talking with this club. No, there's none of that. Very, very tight-lipped. So there's still 3 weeks left. People need to calm down. There's plenty of time here. And the other thing is I don't, like, if you ask me, do I want them to rush? No, I don't want to get a bad signing because you only get 3 DPs. What's the worst thing to do? Is it get somebody that comes in that's a bad attitude or somebody who hasn't been fully scouted? No, thank you.
Right. Yeah, and you and I have been pretty upfront with, like, being frustrated with the fact that the team in the past hasn't wanted to sign. Well, and you figure 23, we're not signing one. We just started. 24, it was hard to justify signing anyone just because of the fact that we're still not in that money making aspect yet. And then, of course, we had Olaf screwing around. And then, yeah, there may have been a cheap offset because we think Lutz probably just wanted to live in that Bundesliga 2 world. And maybe he thought, we don't know. Maybe he pushed back and said, we don't need to sign any big players. I know my guys. But I think you're right. We're seeing rumors about some strikers now. So that guy some things don't need to be said. You can keep some thoughts to yourself. And I think that guy on Facebook there just probably needed to keep that one to himself because now is not the time. The time is when we're in 14th place in November and it's clear that the team is cheap. Like, that's the time to start making these statements, not now.
Here's a controversial one for you. Kahoken said on Reddit, only negative for me was Hulsa. He doesn't look match fit. Game was ripe for him to get a goal on his debut, but he looked off. We'll need time. It's understandable because he's coming off a break and the season just started in Turkey.
What are we doing?
Or Turkey A.
Yeah. Well, by the way, they've recently changed their name to Turkey A. I learned that during the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah. First match, he needs to practice. He needs to get ready with the team. What did this guy want? This guy wanted him to score 3 goals. The guy wanted to go out there. The guy doesn't say what he was expecting. He just wants to make a complaint. So I'm going to say no goal on that because, again, what was that guy looking for? What about you? What do you think? Why make a complaint about someone? He played 20 minutes in his first match, and we don't see that a lot. And you were talking about his corners already. Like, come on, this guy wasn't watching. He just wants to make hay.
He's like, oh, he didn't score. Well, okay, so there's times, how many times did we see that a team would go down because of a red card with 10 players? And what's that one game a few games ago where we had that other team that had the red card and they were basically playing down a man for like 70 minutes? Well, guess what? Soccer, it's hard to score.
Yeah.
There's not very many people that can come in with only 20 minutes near the end of the game that's just going to magically get a goal.
And which we're up 3-1. And which we're up 3-1.
Right.
The point is to not put yourself in bigger situations in which you give up a goal. So let's just stop there. Yeah. And actually, I'm looking at Transfer Market. I downloaded their app, the Transfer Market for St. Louis City. Right now, the team is still in the red by over £5 million. So, like, we're still not to the point where the team is making a ton of money. And that's just according to Transfer Market. I don't know that number, but like the fact that we're still signing people, that we're still trying, like a cheap team, Cardinals, would wait until we are making money hand over fist before they start spending any money. At least we can look and say they're trying, like they're doing their.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, because last year, I think this was in off season, they put basically the profitability of each club, and City was negative $4 million operating costs with roster and income and stuff like that. Now, that doesn't mean the owners are losing money, because they still get like league money, right? They still get like Apple TV money, and that's probably not counting towards it, but they're looking at like concession, jersey sales, or kits sales versus roster. So yeah, I mean, City's not necessarily like, killing it, but still, yeah.
Right. I think what we're saying is have some perspective. Let's take a step back, enjoy what we're doing right now. We're playing Kansas City next week. Guys, if you're not aware, AJ and I were looking it up. Kansas City, just in this last match yesterday, had 2 players get red cards. I don't know if it was yellow accumulation, but there's 2 players on red. One of those is one of their brand new defensive signings they have in. So we're going into Kansas City on a 10-game unbeaten streak, 9 MLS, going into Kansas City against a team that's going to be down automatically 2 players. And then they have to adjust to that. And the team that's still in the gutter. They're still in the gutter. And they're spending all this money on these signings, and they're not seeing anything. So let's enjoy the fact that we can go in there after this and potentially pick up three more points against a very wounded team. That's great.
So I got another goal or no goal, and we might be able to piggyback off what you just said. So Scruffles 360 said, I know, I like whatever DP9 we sign will be expected to bolster the team instead of save us. This is a great direction.
I like that. Yeah. I mean, I think we were talking at the beginning of the season, like that number 9 was going to have to come in and save. And if the team is looking at bolster as opposed to be the savior, that's a huge difference. I think then we don't have to look at spending that $4 million signing. I think we can look at spending a $2 million or $1.5 million signing to get someone in here to do well, because the system is working. Unless we're looking to try to win the West again, trying to go up against Vancouver and LAFC, like if we're looking to be a playoff team, a high playoff team, I think this is the right path we're going on. So I like that. That's definitely a goal for me.
But remember, we're only 6 points from the top of the West.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course we're going to go for it. Like literally, what's it? The top 4 get to have home field advantage, right? At least in the first round. So we're 1 place from that.
Yep.
Now, I do want to admit though, because we're recording Sunday morning here, the 6th and 7th, which is Salt Lake and Dallas, both have a game in hand because they play later today. Both of those teams could jump us and we could drop to 7th, assuming that those teams win, or in the case of Salt Lake, if they tie, they would also have 29 points.
Right.
So we could drop down, but still, we would still be 6 points from the top. And check this out. Houston has 35 points, but they've played 19 games. So they played 1 more game than us. So technically, we have a game on hand. So it's all crazy. And LAFC somehow has... Oh, no, we played 19 games too. It's LAFC that has an extra game. So
it's wild. There's 4 games today on a Sunday. Usually MLS doesn't have that many games on Sunday. So I think we got 5 o'clock games and 7:30 games and a 9:30 game tonight. So I think we got soccer the rest of this evening. I dig it too.
I like it.
I think for a baseball analogy, I think this team is in a buy mode as opposed to a sell mode. It's not really a fully analogous to soccer, but I think that this works. I think we're seeing the team is buying as opposed to just kind of holding and kind of letting things go, which is what we want to see as fans.
So let me ask you. So before we go, that's one thing that I felt and have noticed the difference between like baseball, football, and international football, right? Is that soccer, there's not really very many trades. I get that you can trade within MLS, but everything's about like sending a player out and then getting another player. Like you don't necessarily have to trade with the team that's getting. So like in the case of Hartel, like we didn't have to trade with Hanover. Like we got players from elsewhere. I kind of like that because also there's not a lot of selling. Like you can't just, give up on the season and say, okay, I'm going to sell off part of my roster and then hope for next year. You don't really do that.
No, you're right.
Because there's also only 2 windows, because especially when we get to the international window, the January window hits, you still have half a season left. It's not like the trade deadline where you play 2/3 of the game and you just like give up the last third of the season. So much more interesting this way.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, my son, I took my son up to college last week, and he hasn't watched a lot of soccer with me the last couple of years. And he texted me last night and it's like, hey, I got Apple TV for a month. I'm going to watch the match. I was like, what? You're going to watch? He says, yeah, my couple of the people here want to watch. They want to see what it's like. I'm like, they want to watch the MLS? And he said, yeah. And so he watched that whole match up at college. And he said some of the people there thought it was boring, but he watched the entire thing and loved it. So like, we're expanding, we're encroaching into that Chicago fan base up there. So we got one up there, which is really cool. And soccer's fun.
Woo, woo.
Yep. Whoop, woot, woot, as the kids might say.
Oh, you said he's in Chicago?
Yeah, it's Chicagoland area, yeah.
He better not become a Cubs fan or a Fire fan.
He definitely won't become a Cubs fan, and we went and saw the Fire play at Soldier, and he really wasn't into it either, so I don't think there's any risk there.
Just make sure every Christmas and birthday you're buying him City stuff so he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
St. Louis forever.
Burning Cup stuff. All right. You wanna wrap this thing up here? Wanna wrap it up like we wrapped up San Jose? Bruce Arena, who's that? Yonder May, baby. All right. All right. So let's wrap this thing up. All right. So yeah, I think grab your nearest City fan, give them a big old hug, get close in their ear, kind of whisper and go, all for City, baby! And then get ready for a punch. So there you go. Yeah. What a win.